Amazon's having some issues because they had a walkout on Prime Day. What? Yeah, this wasn't covered anywhere. I didn't hear this covered. But Luis Feliz Leon over at Labor Notes did. Prime Week. Walkouts hit Amazon from Air Hub to delivery station. I didn't even know they're doing Prime. Again, I'm not an Amazon consumer. My wife, she too often hits that button and she's got the app on her phone. I need to delete it. It's convenient. It's too easy. And it's not good. But at the same time, they're also one of the largest employers in the country. So you are supporting workers by buying stuff from Amazon, unfortunately. You're also supporting a race to the bottom.
Not necessarily that the company exists. It's the fact that the company is shitty. Like,
well,
you know,
what company isn't shitty
like
at that level?
A living wage. Yeah, I mean, yes. But like that doesn't mean like the service is great. It just needs to be fucking regulated and like.
Well, part of the service is great, but what they also do is they buy their way into an industry, buy up all the competitors, race their way to the bottom, jack up the prices, ruin the service. Look, it's going to happen with iRobot too. It's happening with everything.
Yep.
So, again, we've got Prime Week walkouts hitting Amazon. Woohoo! Okay, here we go. Boom, let's bring it. Right? Good job, Luis. Thank you for bringing this. Amazon's Swift Delivery Network takes 1 million people to run. During Prime Week, workers took aim at disrupting the symphony of human capital with walkouts at 4 distinct warehouse types in its logistics chain, including one of its large air hubs in Southern California.
Check to see if my mic's on.
I hear you. It says your mic's on.
Yeah, but okay.
Can they not hear you? Are you muted? Are you low?
I don't know. Mad Crab said I had no mic, but
Mad Crab says you have no mic.
Mm-hmm.
I see that Discord Zoom is moving and it turns on and it should be
about in OBS.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at it that it's moving when you're talking. Okay, anyway, Amazon's vast distribution network is staggering. There's the invisible lacework of surveillance algorithms and AI. Anybody tell me if they can't hear Reef besides Crab? There are visible footprints, trucks, robots, hulking warehouses. And then there are, of course, the workers. It takes more than 1 million people, most of them low-paid and grindingly exploited, to pick, sort, unload, ship, deliver packages to customers' doors within days of an order. Sure it does.
They just said, turn me up in Discord probably would work. They just said I'm quiet.
Okie Oh, now you're blowing out my eardrums. Holy moly. Ah.
Well, turn your headphones down.
No, it's not my headphones. It's that I turned you up because I saw that you weren't hitting yellow. How about now? Talk.
Yeah. Testing, 1, 2.
Well, I think you're going to be louder than me now. Okay. Now you're leveling out, right? Now it's better. Holy moly.
Sure.
All right. Yep.
You also just turn your headphones down.
That's what I'm doing. Yes, I'm doing that now.
Okay.
Kelly says can barely hear Reef. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's good. Crab said it's good.
I think we're good now. Okay. Last week, workers took aim at disrupting the symphony of human capital, like I said, with walkouts at 4 distinct warehouses, a cross dock near Chicago, a delivery station and fulfillment center near Atlanta, and in SoCal, one of the company's largest air hubs. The walkouts weren't centrally coordinated, but they all were timed to coincide with Prime Day promotional sales rush, which ran October 10th through 12th.
12th. Yeah.
Now, there was massive resistance to them even adding a second Prime Day. There was no, discussion or what are they going to do for the employees. Across these facilities, workers say they're overworked, underpaid, squeezed by rising inflation, and terrible conditions. We know all this. But think of each strike as a small test. Speed is Amazon's brand, and its massive warehouse and its logistics chain is designed to move goods fast. Any interruption or delay gives workers leverage. This is right.
Yep.
So, how do you get a handmade item delivered from a small business in rural Connecticut to a customer in Los Angeles? As an Amazon press release last year promoting the new air hub in San Bernardino. Quote, in a straight line across the sky, thanks to Amazon Air and its thousands of incredible employees. who they don't take care of. Those incredible employees are now part of a group called Inland Empire Amazon Workers United, supported by the Teamsters and the Warehouse Worker
Teamsters
Resource Center. Yes.
Yay, corporate union. Woo.
100 day and night shift workers at the Air Hub, one of more than a dozen hubs nationally, walked out on October 14th after the company failed to meet their demands to boost pay to $22 hourly, improve health and safety standards in sweltering hot working conditions, and to put an end to retaliation. Good luck. Meanwhile, in Joliet, near Chicago, 50 workers at the cross-dock facility, MDW2, had walked off the job on October 11th, demanding stronger health and safety policies and a wage hike to $25 an hour. Interesting that this is all happening without being coordinated. A cross-dock facility, just to explain, is a central hub where products are sorted and distributed to regional fulfillment centers without being racked or stored. The one in Joliet employs between 1,000 and 2,000 workers, depending on seasonal hiring peaks. Okay. The next day, a dozen workers walked out at ATL2, which is in Stone Mountain, Georgia. That's a fulfillment center, to protest unfair labor practice violations, unsafe working conditions, and low pay also. Okay, so fulfillment centers there are where customer orders are stored, picked, packed, and shipped. That's where Matt worked at the Campbellsville, Kentucky one as well. And, of course, at the delivery station in Buford, Georgia, DGE 9, workers walked out on October 11th and 12th. A dozen people the first day, 2 dozen the next, protesting Amazon's failure to meet the demands they had made in a summer petition, which is 24 hours of paid time off and an $18 base wage. Not unreasonable, especially considering the inflation that's happening right now. Delivery stations are the final stop in the company's logistics chain. They're essential to Amazon's promise of speedy same-day to 2-day Prime delivery. So here's another situation where you have rainbows dimmed, right? So Alfonso Rodriguez remembers feeling welcome when he started at the San Bernardino Air Hub in June of 2021, walking into a workplace adorned with rainbows for Pride Month. But, of course, the rainbows, and Anthony Malecki, our friend, he can attest to stuff like this. The rainbows, of course, soon dimmed as he got to know the working conditions. Yeesh. It was a sweltering summer. Workers recorded 96-degree heat inside cargo planes and tractor trailers, while temperatures on the tarmac shot up to 110. Rodriguez is a learning ambassador, and he's charged with training new hires. But by November, I no longer wanted to train people, he said, because it was too painful to watch his trainees buckle under the workload and suffer without water breaks during a record heat wave. Well, tell them to bring water. Guess what? I don't believe they're allowed to. Around the Christmas holidays, Amazon announced with little notice that the warehouse would be closed for 2 days, unexpectedly cutting workers' take-home pay. At the holiday time, a petition against the closure kicked off the Air Hub's first organizing campaign. Ana Ortega, she was on track to become a process assistant, a role adjacent to management, when a coworker approached her to sign the petition. She declined. Why? Because she was too scared to sign up at first. I thought they were going to get fired. None of them got fired. They actually got Amazon to implement a national policy change, giving workers advance notice of closures. That's good. So then she joined her coworkers in their next collective action, presenting a petition for a $5 wage increase. So soon she began wondering, hey, what if we unionize? I like her.
What if?
Just be thankful, right? This is what the bosses are saying. Workers started building an organizing committee. They kept marching on the boss, and in July they delivered an 800-signature petition. Management, of course, went on the offensive, bringing in anti-union consultants, like they do, the Pinkertons. In August, more than 150 workers walked off the job, according to the Washington Post, which we know Amazon, even though said it was only 74. After the walkout, Amazon raised wages by 90 cents an hour on weekday night shifts and 85 cents an hour on weekend nights. But workers had demanded $5. And now they were facing retaliation, surveillance, and another heat wave. Managers also started sending workers up on ladders into cross-belt conveyors to dislodge fallen packages, a job previously done by trained maintenance technicians. So now they're having them do skilled stuff, put themselves at further physical risk and harm for jobs they're not trained for, and not paying them for the maintenance technician's skills. There you go.
Yep.
Ortega says, they were sending us up to these hot, tight, cramped spaces. It's hot. There's no ventilation. It's dark. The whole time that you're in there, you have to crab walk, right? Big bad crab, right? And after every other step, there's a beam directly above your head. We would come out dripping in sweat and panting. Yep. The warehouse feels dark now, she says, with union busters skulking in the shadows, far from the rainbow environment that once appealed to him. What Amazon is showing is predator-like behavior, he said. They follow a plan that has worked, come to these poor communities where people are told they should just be thankful, not ask for more. I've only been there a year, and that's how long it took to figure out that this plan does not work out for the worker. It only works out for Amazon. You moved your camera, by the way, when you did that.
All right. How about that?
Yes, that's better. AirHub workers are strategically placed at a critical node in Amazon's distribution network, so that's really important. That's what critical node means. Yes, thank you, Captain Obvious.
Yep.
Amazon's the largest employer in Southern California and has more than 40 facilities in the state, according to the consulting firm MWPVL International. 40 facilities in the state, largest employer in Southern California. Kind of important to know. Each day, Amazon operates 14 flights in and out of the sprawling air hub known as KSBD. It's part of the company's air freight division, where Amazon-branded planes and trucks transport packages to warehouses across the country. Amazon Air operates at 42 airports within 100 miles of 70% of the U.S. population. The company is heavily investing in its business-to-consumer delivery, entering the third-party shipping sector. In April, it rolled out Buy with Amazon, which allows consumers to use their Prime memberships when selecting shipping options, even if they're buying stuff on a different platform than Amazon.com. Okay, I didn't realize that. I'm not using that because I'm not an Amazon customer.
Mm-hmm.
But in response to a slowdown in e-commerce, which has, again, left the company with excess capacity, Amazon is both freezing hiring and abandoning warehouse expansions. However, in the Inland Empire, it faces a different sort of challenge, which I think we also talked about, ONT8. According to a leaked internal research report, Amazon has burned through its workforce in the Inland Empire so fast that it fears it will run out of workers by the end of this year. We talked about that problem with Matt, that their hire rate is at 150% of the local population. They're literally hiring people back because they don't have enough workers. Here you go.
Jesus.
And Rodriguez is saying, Amazon has hired everybody. I'm 35, but I consider myself one of the older people. I call myself an OG, an old gay. Okay. I don't know what that has to do with it, but okay. In September, Amazon, of course, announced that it would be spending $1 billion to boost worker pay nationwide. Yay. Except that what's their revenues and what's their annual earnings and what that looked like for our warehouse. We got a 50-cent raise. And that's Arturo Dame, who worked at the delivery station in Beaufort, Georgia. We were asking for $3. During the peak season, they gave us a $3 bonus. So what we were asking was, let's make that bonus permanent. I don't think that's unreasonable.
Yep.
Again, that's $18. I didn't even get a quarter to put in the vending machine, is how Theometra Robinson at Stone Mountain Fulfillment Center described the raise. Yep. Amazon, here we go, raked in a net income of $33.6 billion last year. Now, that's net income. That's not net profit. That's net income. On revenues of $469.8 billion. So net income is profit. And, of course, CEO Andy Jassy, we know, earned $212.7 million. Of course, with the pinky finger at your mouth. You have to do that.
Yep.
So what happened? After ALU won its historic victory at Staten Island, Demetria Robinson reached out to Teamsters Local 728 in Lakewood, Georgia. She says, I knew they represented UPS workers. They were the top union in the country. That's bargaining power for us. Well, sort of. Robinson had started at ATL2 in May 2021. She rose quickly through the ranks, becoming a process assistant within months. Things were on the upswing until she got a written warning after cursing out a worker who physically assaulted her.
Nice.
Soon after, Amazon rescinded her promotion and refused to transfer her from a department that she characterized as a hostile work environment. She fell into a bout of depression that lasted until ALU's win lifted her spirits in April. A light bulb went off, she said. They didn't know I'd unionized before. She and the other Garda World security drivers had won a union drive in 2010 with the security, police, and fire professionals. Garda World, I believe, is they drive the armored trucks. So, she went to a Teamsters training in Georgia on unionizing Amazon, but she felt its emphasis was misplaced on organizing contract workers who drive Amazon-branded vans. Well, that's not too much of a surprise because Teamsters focused on the people who make things move. But she says if you try to unionize them, Amazon will cancel these people's contracts, she argued. You have to unionize the warehouses and negotiate some kind of terms and conditions for these drivers because you're going to lose on that other end. Yep. She said the Teamsters advised her to focus on list building, identifying leaders for a committee, and building a base of support before going public with a campaign. We've talked about this before. They don't want you to be exposed as one of the organizers. They want you to do everything covert.
Mm-hmm.
She disagreed with that strategy too. Where have I heard that before? Look, this facility is too big to be covert. It is a building of 4,000 people. I can't throw a rock and hit 3 people I know. You're in a station isolated all day. You can barely walk around and go pee. In order for me to get what you're asking me, I need to be out there. So she started a lone wolf campaign, like Chris did. Standing outside the facility, handing out flyers was a way to plant the flag and draw workers towards her, but the union busting was swift. Managers started targeting workers who seemed sympathetic. Meanwhile, Amazon had set more strenuous rules, preventing water breaks, dinging workers from missed productivity targets, and time off tasks. Workers were fed up, and they should be. Their first walkout again was on September 14th after a worker passed out from heat exhaustion, and their second was on October 11th. So again, a clandestine approach. Adame and his striking co-workers from the delivery center in nearby Beaufort piled into a van to meet Robinson and her co-workers as they walked out during Prime Week. We're in the same fight, he said. We walked out, you walked out, let's celebrate together. Hell yeah. This is what we're talking about, worker solidarity. However, Adame says they're trying different strategies. Quote, I would attribute the difference to where we work. The Ametris facility is a fulfillment center employing thousands of workers. They can be a bit more direct because it's harder to communicate with other workers. They're taking an aggressive style to organizing and announcing their walkout plans, which is probably the only way to organize a fulfillment center. That's what happened to Matt, and he got retaliated against. He says, I trust that they know what they're doing. They work there. Well, they do. They're fighting for the other workers, and I hope that they don't get retaliated against. By contrast, again, the workers at DGE 9 are keeping things as clandestine as possible. Well, sorry guys, we're blowing the lid off of that.
Yeah.
At the delivery station, we have a lot of leverage, he said. So we're being diligent about building the committee so we can delay freight and affect Amazon's bottom line. Again, hurting their money is the only thing that they hear. Influenced by the Collective Amazonians United, which has chapters across the U.S. and Canada, the Beaufort workers have adopted a solidarity union model. That means they're not pursuing legal union recognition anytime soon. Instead, their focus is on workplace collective action. This is in line with what we talked about with the guys over in North Carolina. This is in line with what we talked about with Matt Cusick, and I believe he might even run Amazonians United. He's great. Knowing the terror campaign that Amazon would unleash if you certify an election, the union busting, the captive audience meetings, Having a shop floor solidarity union is one way to overcome these hurdles to a traditional strategy, Adami said. He's absolutely right. We would love to unionize Amazon formally. We just know it's going to be a tough battle, and we're committed to setting the stage so one day we can make that happen. Yeah, you've got to get collective, like, kind of solidarity and everybody agreeing on, again, not just what we're against, but what we're for. Agreeing what we're for. Mm-hmm. As Kwame Ture famously says, thank you, shout out to Brother Colin. Okay. He appreciates Amazonians United for its strategic vision, which prioritizes delivery stations as a critical link in the supply chain. Yep. Since delivery stations are part of the last mile and only employ about 100 employees, they're a very good place to organize and bring coworkers together and affect the company's bottom line, delay freight.
Yep.
That's the only way to get the company's attention and be taken seriously. That's what Starbucks, that's how Starbucks has been effective, in my opinion, is the smaller organizing. The 15, 22, 35 workers that are voting to unionize in these Starbucks locations. The problem is,
not to poo-poo your opinion, but this is a little like, I mean, it's 100 employees at a facility that then is solely responsible for, like, the peer-to-peer, like, it freight wouldn't get to places if they shut down.
Oh,
you know,
correct.
It's like a, you know,
it's a cog. It's
without
literally
those
like
location, right?
It's literally like you're sticking a gum in the works. Okay. However, here's somebody in Amazon Joliet. Okay, MDW2, the Amazon workers organizing there at the Crossdock facility are getting support from the United Electrical Workers backed Worker Center Warehouse Workers for Justice. They filed 50 Equal Opportunity Employment Commission complaints to date and collected 700 signatures on their petition. Well, that's good. How many workers are at the facility? I don't remember what the number was, but it's thousands. They need to get more than 50% to have an election. Panetta Baker has worked at Amazon for 6 years. Before this, she was a certified nursing assistant. And at first, she liked the pay bumps that Amazon would give out for attendance and meeting productivity quotas. Great. Right? But despite her contributions, quote, I've trained over 1,000 people easily, she says, the raises stopped. This is a policy intended to get rid of long-term employees to prevent what founder Jeff Bezos has characterized as a march to mediocrity. Yeah, right. But what it means is that all the executives and the people who hang around get massive bonuses and pocket all the profits, while all the workers keep getting rotated around and never end up getting raises and never getting lifted out of slave wage poverty. This year, Baker got a 60-cent bump to $20.90 per hour after 6 years. Her co-pays and premiums have been increasing too. And besides the money, it's the safety issues, the racial slurs, the nitpicking supervisors do, the changes on a whim. Gross. MDW2 workers walked out in May to protest what WWJ called racist death threats scrawled on bathroom walls. God, I didn't even hear about this one. Wow. We still see masks a lot, said another worker. Why? I thought it was that people were concerned with COVID and the flu. No, it's actually people with asthma who are concerned about the dust in the air. There's a lot of issues you can face at work, but not being able to breathe?
Mm-hmm.
You go through life, you work through these types of jobs just because you want to make a wage and provide so many products that people need, and you can't even do it with the dignity of knowing what you're going to be able to breathe. It's the worst place I've worked, he said. Wow. And he's tearing up as he says it. God, that's just heartbreaking. And he works nights. You go in, you work 10 hours, you go home, you get to sleep. You don't get much more opportunity to do anything else. And before you know it, you're back to work the next day. At no point can you have meaningful conversations or meaningful rest. This is something that we've talked about extensively for months and months and months and months. Not just at Amazon, but at Nabisco, at Lay's, at Kellogg's. These factory workers that are working 70, 80 hours a week. The train workers that have 33 days off a year. Sometimes the grueling conditions zap his confidence that winning is even possible. He says he has his doubts about this fight that we're partaking in. What if it's all in vain? What if we can't get meaningful change for ourselves, even after all the struggle? But I see things like today, and I get a lot of hope. We need some, and that's a fun thumbnail we're going to do next, but organize, unionize Amazon, break up Amazon, the NLRB, not just the NLRB, but also the Federal Trade Commission needs to step in, really. I mean, honestly, it's brutal. They literally squeeze companies and industries out and become the sole dominant player.
It's brutal.
So, what do you do? Not really sure what the answer is.
Light a match.
Light a match. Yeah, and then they'll move facilities. That's all. They'll just open another one tomorrow. They got $1 trillion. That's.
I got a box of matches.
I know you do. I know you do.
I mean,
they got Pinkertons and cops and judges and all kinds of people in their pocket. They have literally the former White House press secretary as their chief PR spokesperson.
Of course they do.
Of course they do. The Obama administration.
Yep.
Fun times, everybody. Fun times.